everybody, what's going on? Olivia Reiner here at Lambeau Field with none other than Jim Ozarski. Hello, Jim.
I'm back.
Great to see you. We missed you very dearly. Hopefully, guys, the stream is better than it was yesterday. If you were with us yesterday, we had some technical difficulties. I'm not proud of it. Upon further investigation, it may have been a user issue. User being me.
It's your fault.
It's my fault. So I apologize for that. So let's see. I mean, we look better. Chase asks, is it going to work today? I mean, I think we're working so far. I think it looks okay. So guys, feel free to leave some of your questions in the feed on Facebook. We love to hear from you guys.
Yeah.
Always bombard us. But let's just talk about some of the big news today. Jimmy Graham did not practice.
Yeah.
He was out once again, and I believe with a groin injury. And worth noting that Evan Bayless was promoted from the practice squad to the active roster. So a new tight end in the offense. How much can Packers fans realistically expect to see Evan Bayless in the offense? And what about Jimmy Graham? Will he be ready for Sunday?
Well, I would venture to guess that Jimmy Graham isn't going to play. I mean, they didn't practice yesterday. If they did, he wouldn't have practiced. He didn't practice today. I mean, veterans tend to get more leeway, but with a soft tissue injury and promoting Evan Bayless probably means he isn't going to go. I personally, Olivia, I think Evan Bayless is going to play a lot. Now, whether they throw it to him, I don't know. Clearly, at least through 2 weeks, Matt LaFleur's proven he'd rather go week to week, game plan to game plan with whether it's receivers or tight ends. But they're down a receiver with Trevor Davis being gone. No one was really tipping their hand as to who's going to return punts, but it's probably going to be Darius Shepard. And we're probably going to see, I guess, Trey Smith is what he'll go by, the recently acquired Trey Smith on kick return. So a few new faces, at least in that regard, Sunday, I think.
Yes, Trey Smith. I spoke to him in the locker room today. I asked him, what do you like to go by? There is another Tremon, as we know, although this is a Traymon we're dealing with, not a Tremon. So emphasis on two different syllables. But Trey, it sounds like it's going to be fine. But anyway, he's been here, 2 practices?
Right.
So it's hard for me realistically to envision that he'd be doing very much at all on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, he could probably return kicks because the chances that he actually does that are slim to none. I mean, at this point, the kick return is basically a dead play. So if B.J. Goodson was able to play against Chicago after a walkthrough, I would think Trey Smith would be able to return a kick if it came down to it. But if he's active, I think that would be his only role. And maybe as a gunner, with Trevor Davis being gone, he is a bigger body than Darius Shepard and he's actually done it at the NFL level. He's tackled players as a corner. So I think, that's where we would see him.
All right, something to keep an eye on. Got a lot of you guys in the comments here asking about the Trevor Davis trade, what we think of it. Questions from both Michael and somebody else. There we go. Steve, thank you guys. Yep. Appreciate it. So what do you make of the Trevor Davis trade? What do you think of the return for the trade, the 6th-round pick? And do you feel like it was time for Trevor Davis to move on and actually be able to play as a receiver outside of Green Bay where he wasn't getting a whole lot of time?
Right. I guess I'm going to have to make the used car analogy. I mean, I did tweet a Fast and Furious link for this. But, I mean, Trevor Davis was a 5th-round pick 4 years ago. They get a 6th-round pick. That's basically what happens when you drive that pick off the lot, right? You're rarely going to get the same return, if not more. So I am a little surprised by it, that basically it was they made the claim of Trey Smith. And you're like, oh, what does that mean? Raven Green's gone. You're kind of going through all that, and then Trevor Davis is shipped out to Oakland. I think he's going to get an opportunity to catch passes there. I guess unfulfilled potential, potentially with Trevor Davis, but he was just a 5th-round pick. I think as a kick returner, it's frankly a replaceable position, Olivia, right? If you're a baseball fan, it's like replacement level, essentially, right? He wasn't really doing much, so we'll see who gets those reps at receiver, though, because he did appear. So I don't know if that means more room for Allen Lazard, or is it Darius Shepard? We'll find out Sunday.
He appeared, but as Brian points out in the comments, he only had 9 receptions, I believe.
In his career,
Yeah, which to me, when I heard that number yesterday, I was like,
is that
that's
misprint?
it?
Right.
To me, that was surprising, and perhaps is that just goes to show they didn't like him as a fit in the offense, which is interesting because Tom Silverstein just wrote the other day that Trevor Davis should be getting the ball more.
He seemed like more of a fit in this offense than under Mike McCarthy. I think he was buried on the depth chart with those good Packers receiving groups up until this last year, and then last year he was healthy. He did look like a fit. He had a good camp. He played well against Oakland, which is maybe why they wanted him. So that's why it's a little surprising, is I thought, look, this team is desperate for playmakers right now, and he was one of the few receivers who had that sort of catch-and-run breakaway speed, but clearly the Packers just felt they've got that guy, I guess, elsewhere on the roster.
Mm-hmm. So Jonathan wants to know who the Packers have added now that they've traded Trevor Davis. They promoted Evan Bayless, and Keon Hatcher, wide receiver, is now a member of the practice squad. He was with the Packers for a brief amount of time recently.
Yeah, a month last year on the practice squad, a couple of different stints in Oakland, small stint in Detroit on their practice squad a year ago. Another big receiver, and weight. I mean, he's like 6'1", 200-something pounds, but I mean, he played one game for the Raiders a year ago, I want to say. So, yeah, they had him on the practice squad. Brian Gutekunst must have just liked what he brings to that group.
So we'll talk about the tight ends once more. Again, Nibs wants to know. Well, first he says hello from the UK. Hello. Thank you for joining us. What time is it where you are? Is it getting late?
I think it's late over
there. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for staying up and watching us.
Yeah, have a pint.
Yes, please. He wants to know, will Mercedes Lewis or Robert Tonyan have a bigger role on Sunday with Jimmy Graham being presumably questionable for the game and Evan Bayless presumably going to be playing in his first game with the Packers? Right. I'd imagine that they're going to want to keep using Tonyan as in the receiving game. And Mercedes Lewis has been strong blocking. He had a couple of catches his first game. Last game, pretty quiet. All the tight ends were pretty quiet. How do you see those two guys being used this Sunday?
Yeah, I think, we'll have to see Robert Tonyan more. I think, he made the roster to begin with, and so that, to me, that means he'll play more than Evan Bayless. But I guess we'll see. Because, Matt LaFleur said he's going to go week to week, matchup to matchup. This might be the week we see Danny Vitale play 30 snaps. You know what I mean? So I don't know exactly how it's going to be used, but Matt LaFleur does like the tight ends. I guess it's just whether or not they're in the passing game. So that's to be determined. I guess my gut is with Von Miller, Bradley Chubb, and that pass rush, you might see them blocking a little more. But again, that's just something we'll have to find out Sunday.
Nib says that it's 10 p.m. where he is, and it's wine, not a pint. He's enjoying some wine, so have a glass
not a wine
for me.
Guy. Yeah.
Oh, I like a nice white wine, not a huge red wine person. Not that you really need to know that, but now you know. Southwest Florida Packers fan club. Again, I believe that is what you are. I see the little icon of Florida in your on your profile there. He asks, what do you think about the running backs sharing reps? What he's referring to, I believe Ryan Wood asked Matt LaFleur yesterday about Aaron Jones and kind of wondering what their plan is with him and touches down the road. And Matt LaFleur responded saying that they'd like to see a little bit more balance between Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams when it comes to distributing those touches. Now, as we all know, Aaron Jones has quite the extensive injury history. With that in mind, is it a good idea for them to be splitting time, or is it should they be more dependent on who's hot or who's doing well in the game?
I see both ends of it. On one hand, Aaron Jones, yes, has had sprained MCLs. To me, that's having had many injuries with the knees. I don't think you can train your body to prevent ligament injuries. That's going to happen or it's not. I don't think that's Aaron Jones' fault, but it has happened. So I think, he's the only other playmaker outside of Devontae Adams. So to me, you got to give him the ball. And then you hope Jamal Williams or maybe Dexter Williams in practice proves he can be up and active. That said, Jamal Williams is a decent player. He had a 15-yard catch-and-run screen pass against the Vikings. He can do those things. I just don't think it needs to be 50-50. It doesn't need to be the McCarthy thing from last year where, Aaron Jones disappears from the field for a while. 2-1, 2.5-1, maybe touches. I don't think it needs to be that even. maybe you don't want Aaron Jones touching it 27 times like he did against Minnesota, and Jamal Williams, what was it, 7
it was
or
less.
12 or something like that? Yeah, like maybe you don't want it that skewed. But I don't think 50-50 is where you want to go either.
Okay, so balance does not necessarily equal split.
Right.
Okay.
Right. That's what I think.
All right. Well, guys, it's going to be a short one from us today.
Yeah, we got coordinators.
Unfortunately, yes, got to go talk to Hackett, Pettin, Menenga, so we'll be throwing them lots of questions. And, of course, guys, you can throw us more questions tomorrow. I'll be back here most likely with Ryan Wood, so little spoiler preview for you all. Incentive for you to come back.
We are trying to get Ryan to do an Orange Justice for you.
Yes.
So if you guys can just continue to pepper him on Twitter.
That wasn't it.
Yeah.
I tried to do the arms. I don't know how to do it still. Maybe I'll learn.
We want Ryan to do it.
Yeah.
So we want you to want Ryan to do it for us.
All right. Yes. Please badger Ryan about it.
Yeah.
Would appreciate it. All right, guys. That's going to be everything for